Like it says on the tin, never mind the bollocks, show me your dog. So here we have Rafty Tafty's collar. As you can see, it has a transmitter in there that tells him when he's too far away from me. You press this button here and it gives you flashing, just a red one, and off. Flashing, different mode, on all the time, off. What a bloody bit of genius that is. Honestly, I think I'm getting one for Sue. So, as you can see, we have Rafa, here. Sit up. Supporting a beautiful, get on, collar that flashes so you know where he is. And as you can see, he wears it as a badge of honor because he's had the e-collar on him compared to the other dogs. He wears it as a badge of honor. I put it on him where I don't recommend working dogs having collars on that are loose, that can get caught up and hunting with a collar on. Every now and again I put that collar on him to remind him of the badge of honor that he picked up for being a naughty boy. He had to have the e-collar on him. He can't wait to put a collar on, no matter what collar it is. Does he know that's an e-collar or just a flashy little collar that'll stop him getting run over in the dark? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't give its true justice. Just get on. Raph, come here. Sit up. Look at that, everyone. Look at that. Get on, Raph. Isn't that beautiful? A flashing collar for Raph. There you go. Anyway, why am I talking about the e-collar again when you don't use the e-collar on every dog, Chris? Because in America, Petco have stopped selling the e-collar. The only e-collar Petco used to sell is cheap Mickey Mouse ones from Hong Kong made by Ing Pong Ping Pong. So they have no understanding. It's a bit like their staff, because they do dog training. They're going down the road of all positive only. Aren't you? Bless you. Now, I'm going to have to edit that out. Why have I bringing up Petco when we're not in America? Well, America said things aren't getting banned in America like they are in the UK. The UK government are going to bring in the rules and no one's going to do nothing about it. There's going to be no anarchy in the UK. And they won't let us do it in America because we'll stand up and fight. Far more dogs in America are being trained by e-collars, and far more dogs in America are being saved by e-collars, and far more people are talking about e-collars on the internet as a positive thing, as trainers. But Joe Public is being sold the idea that the e-collar is a cruel and barbaric tool. Are they a cruel, barbaric tool? Well, I've been putting up the evidence that they're not, if used properly. They're a wonderful tool, if used properly. Fine example. The old Rafty Tafty hasn't got an e-collar on. He's just got an ordinary collar slipped over the top of his head. It's not even tightened up properly. But what is he doing? He's staying well in with the pack. Why? Because he knows out there is not a safe place to be with an e-collar on. Now, is that not a safe place to be and it frightens him? No. Take the e-collar off and he'll take in more ground. Put the e-collar on and he'll stay tight. Because he's been conditioned. You could say he's e-collar conditioned, that when you put the e-collar on him. But how would you know whether that's an e-collar or not an e-collar? It's just a flashing collar. That's not an e-collar. It stands out more than the e-collar because they've developed the e-collar to look small, compact, And you don't hear the dog screaming when somebody presses the e-collar who knows how to condition the dog in the first place and get the results what they need, because it changes the behavior. And when I say it changes the behavior, you have to first teach the dog what come here means. Once the dog understands what come here means, and you've used the lead, you've used the correction from yourself through the leash, and then you use the e-collar and you educate the dog with the e-collar instead of punish the dog with the e-collar, you then use it so lightly that the dog sees it as a game, not a negative. But don't get me wrong, when we do turn it up, the dog then sees it as a negative and avoid misbehaving. Now, you could say, yes, first we've got to teach the behaviour, and once you've taught the behaviour, why do you need to then use the e-collar? Because it reinforces the behaviour. It teaches the dog. Does that mean we've got to be pressing the e-collar all the time? No, we don't. That's why it was important, everybody, that I showed Sean with his finger on the button of the e-collar, because I don't want that. Where he's picked that up from is I don't know. You don't walk round following the dog with the e-collar to train it, right? You're not training the dog that way. You're hardening the dog up, if anything, because you're going to have to go up and up the levels when the dog's prey drive comes in. The idea is you use it in an emergency if the dog doesn't listen. And when I say listen, once or twice at the right level, and we're talking about higher, the dog goes, now I'll avoid that. Then you can go back down to your low level and play it as a game. But then you wean the dog off it. Else the dog is e-collar reliant. That's why I've brought in this video, for you people to perhaps understand. People were saying to me on my live feeds, where do I get an e-collar? What e-collar do I use? What do I say? Before you get an e-collar, seek professional advice of someone who knows what they're doing. Spend a little bit of money so you don't mess your dog up and ruin the relationship with your dog. You may have a bad relationship anyway, but you don't want to make it worse. You don't want the dog to fear you or associate something else with fear through the way you've used the e-collar. It's more important about education. Then you can make the decision whether you think it's for you or not for you, or for your dog. At the end of the day, I want everybody to have education and learn from my site, not just go out and think, right, I'm going to do that, because punishment and correction is a really important part of the training, but you have to educate. And if we are not allowed to educate, and what we call the positive gangs and the government and the big business that want to take your money off you get their way, they'll stop all punishment of any sort to dogs. And guess what will happen then? You'll either have to not have a dog, or there'll be dogs euthanized, put down left, right and centre. So dogs will still be bought by people. Then when they realise they can't correct the behaviours through positive and positive only, because what have we been saying? We've been saying to them for 10 years now, I have, show us your work. Put up your work. Not your edited, glossy shit that's on the TV. There was a programme on last night with Julian Clary doing the narrating. I watched it for about 5 minutes and switched off and thought, how gullible people are. How gullible people are. It's all about hearts and minds, isn't it? So I decided 10 years ago, the only way to win hearts and minds is to show dogs happy, show dogs enjoying life, have some humour in my videos, but also talk about the subject that nobody wants to talk about in the UK. Why is it American dog trainers are talking about it, trying to fight and educate? When I say fight, they're not particularly wanting to fight with the positive gang. What they're trying to do is fight for the right to use the tools they see fit and train a dog the way you see fit. And this is what I like about the American trainers compared to this country. What's going to happen in this country? We're going to have the, hey, get here you. See that A? Shouldn't have used that, should I? Even I get it wrong. See, A, see? Should have used his name and called him out, shouldn't I? But do I take all this out and edit it? No, I leave it in. because we all get things wrong. We all make mistakes. Now, what if you had the collar on there and you zapped him for going in the cover? You could have association that the cover gave him the pain, the negative, the punishment, so he doesn't go near cover. So it's so important when you give a correction, it's knowing when to give a correction and how to give a correction, and that's about education. And that's what we're on about. Like I said, anybody just tuned in, that is not an e-collar, that's just an ordinary collar on him. But it's a loose collar, and if he went into cover with that, he could get himself hung up. I could be calling him, and he's not coming back, and I could be shouting, and he's not coming back. I could be pressing an e-collar if he had an e-collar on, and he's not coming back. And guess what? He's hung up in the cover. So you should never use the e-collar out of sight with the dog. There was an instance in this country, or I think it was this country, where a bloke had the e-collar on the dog had gone off on a housing estate, and he was desperate to get the dog back. He didn't want to get the dog killed. The dog had gone, and he was pressing the e-collar, and he's turning it up, and he was pressing the e-collar, and the dog was screaming round the corner, away from him. But they couldn't tell. They couldn't tell what the dog was doing, and it's wrong. It's wrong. He shouldn't have been doing it. It was totally wrong. It's not fair. Someone's trying to grab hold of that dog to save it from being run on the road, and they see it in distress, and he's zapping it, trying to get it back. How does the dog know where to come back if you're in an estate, in a built-up area? Yes, the panic comes in, and the guy was wrong. He needed to be educated. He didn't need to be victimised to the point that the madding crowds get hold of him. It's wrong, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be educated. Now, the nice thing is about my site, as you all know on Patreon, I can say these things and not get attacked. And not get attacked by the madding crowd. When I used to say it on YouTube or on Facebook, especially in groups, you'd be attacked left, right and centre by these women with these pet couch potato gun dogs, and they call themselves gun dog trainers. And then you get these blokes as well that have got no idea how to train a dog. Rafa, come here. They would join in to make themselves look powerful with the women. And it said on the Field Sports channel that 240,000 people attacked me and wrote to the government saying ban Chris Upton from having dogs. No, they didn't. 10,000 people signed a fake petition made in Romania, set up by a fake company that does surveys, and it says if you get a 10,000 certificate people who join, we'll send a letter to the government. A letter was sent to the government. Government come back and went, it's none of our business. The police said it's none of our business. He's not broke the law. Go away. What a waste of time. Is it worrying? Of course it's worrying when 10,000 people attack you and say you beat and kick dogs for a living when in fact you don't. Should you stand up for your rights? Well, some people can do and some people can't. Some people would be scared to and others wouldn't. Others would stand their ground. So I had to fight back. I had to fight back for the sake of the dog training community, not just for myself and my business. And my business was affected. It's as simple as that. Because shit sticks. It's as simple as that. And if they want to spread lies about you, what can you do? Individually take every one of them to court? No, you can't. So do you get a true reflection by listening to crap on the internet that someone's saying about someone else? No. You need to look at the bigger picture. That's why I put the videos up, everyone. That's why I put the videos up. And what happened? People who were struggling with their dogs started to realise this guy talks sense. This guy says it the way it is. He might not be the most popular guy in the world, but by God, he's got a hell of a following. He's got 7,000 subscribers. Well, if you totaled up both YouTube channels, he's had 8,500 subscribers and over 4 million views now. At the end of the day, Why are we getting it? Is it because he's controversial and they just like to see a troublemaker? Or is it the fact that he's never been so busy training dogs and training people? Because the truth speaks for itself if you're big enough and strong enough to stand up and face the madding crowd. That's what this is about, everyone. That's what this is about. That's why we went over to Patreon. That's why I'm the most watched, paid dog trainer on the internet, because I needed a platform where we could debate and we could talk and we could educate without the planks. Now the planks haven't got £6 a month, so they can't come in. It's £5 a month I get, and I think there's a admin fee and tax, so it costs you £6 a month. I'm the only trainer coming up to 1,000 videos on the internet to educate you and give you a true insight into how to get the best out of your gun dog. Now, whether you're a gun dog trainer or a pet trainer, Ras, come on in. Whether you're a pet trainer or gun dog trainer, some of you pet people would be over the moon if you had a relationship like I've got with these dogs. And the relationship is only built because of 95% fun-based training. That 95% fun-based training is what we talk about all the time. And yet haters don't want to talk about that. They only want to talk about the discipline, because that's where they can get themselves a bit of limelight. That's where they can get a bit of sympathy. Oh, he gives these dogs correction. These dogs hate him because he gives them correction. No, they don't. They look up to me as a leader. It's knowing when to give correction. And if we don't train that into these dogs and show you people how we do it, it'll be a lost art. And you could say, whoa, that's all for the better. Not for the betterment of these dogs. No way. These dogs, without leadership, without discipline, this puppy had punishment the other day, because when I put him back in his kennel after running around, and he loves running around with the other dogs, he said, I don't want that, and he howled and screamed and howled and screamed, and for the first time he had a little bit of discipline with water. Didn't waterboard him, but people who watch my videos will know what we do. We were talking about it, whether you've got a starting pistol. Hey, what are you doing, you? Come on, you. Rolling in fox shit, that's what he's doing. Rolling in fox shit. Trust him to find fox shit. So what I'm saying is, that taught him a lesson. It taught him to stop that. We're not having it. There comes a point where we go, hang on, enough's enough. Is it bothered him? Not in the slightest. Does he love me? Yes. Does he love being with the other dogs? Yes. Do I ignore bad behavior? No. If you ignore bad behavior, it will only get worse. It's as simple as that, everybody. I'm giving you in an honest format. I think the Kennel Club are an absolute disgrace, pretending that all these dogs are trained with love and affection only. It's an absolute load of rubbish. Come on in. So anyway, I've got to go because it's a beautiful day and they're giving rain coming in at 2 o'clock. So I'm going out training with some of these dogs. Because yes, I do go out in the rain, but it's rained nearly for 2 weeks, non-stop nearly. And it's a bit of a pain in the arse when every time you go out you get wet. So with this sun beaming through, it rejuvenates you to make you want to get back out there and do some training. So that's where I'm going while this video is uploaded on the internet for you guys. So I know if a lot of you have contacted me and said, I've missed your videos, Chris. I've missed your videos. They were fantastic. Where have they gone? Well, we're over on Patreon now. If you want to come over to Patreon and join a group of like-minded people who know that discipline is part and parcel of life, but that doesn't mean we don't love our dogs, and we'll show you a group of people like-minded that enjoy dog training.